Hey guys! So, today we're going to talk a little bit about the social aspects of being a programmer. So let's get into it. I got a question just yesterday from a subscriber who wanted me to touch a little bit about this issue, like it depends on kind of what you expect from a working environment when you work as a programmer. I mean, some of you may still have it in your heads that it's kind of depicted in, old movies where, all right, the programmer is in his cubicle or her cubicle, tapping away and just basically working in complete isolation. Now, it's absolutely feasible that these types of working environments still kind of exist, but what I can tell you from experience is that that's actually not how it works. I've actually never ever talked to or even met somebody who works in this manner. Now, the way that it works is usually that you and whoever you're working with when you work as a software developer, you work in a team. A team consists of usually between 2 to 8, roughly, and you work as a single unit where you deliver stories and you collaborate and do all these other things. And why this is kind of interesting is because I made a video not that long ago where I was saying that when you're in a job interview, it's kind of important that you have an ability to effectively communicate who you are and what you can bring to the table, because you need to be what we call a culture fit. Now, a culture fit is somebody who simply will fit into an environment because, as I said, you're actually working as a part of a team. And surprisingly enough, there are days where you will absolutely have to kind of buckle down and really focus on your thing. But on an average day, you will talk to several people. You will collaborate and you will expose yourself in a way that you don't really know unless you have already done it. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, you see, I mean that being a programmer is part of a software development team. I mean, if you're a freelancer or a consultant who works completely individually, you don't have really much in terms of co-workers. You may have stakeholders, and even with stakeholders you need to do this. But you work in kind of solo environment, it may not be as important, but let me walk you through it. Because when you work as part of a software team, there are several things that you're going to have to do. For example, pair coding is one, where pair coding is the idea that you have more than one person writing the software. And this is something that we usually use in software when we want to spread knowledge, say that you have been working on one set of features and you're going to go on vacation or something like that, and you need to make a handoff of some sort, or you have a feature that is very complicated, it's very important that multiple people know about it, that sort of thing. Pair coding or mob coding is the same kind of type of idea, right? And the thing is that that's a really almost an intimate type of thing to do. It's vital that you feel comfortable with your coworkers in order to collaborate. Because imagine yourself, if you have this idea that you are an island or you're an individual inside of your company and you don't really talk to your coworkers all that much, I mean, you're all working on the same project. In fact, most companies encourage this to the point where they will actually not avoid hiring people who are what as we call them, bad culture fits. That's actually a part of the interviewing process. The first thing is to look at your CV. The second thing is to look at your code test to make sure that you have some type of skills, and then you have the personal interview. Why do you think we have the personal interview, guys? The personal interview is for you to come down to the company, see what it's all about, and kind of trade some information to see that you're interested as well. But it's also about the company and the people there figuring out if you're going to be somebody they can work with. Because if you are super introvert, now I'm saying, guys, you have to kind of gauge this. I'm not saying that you have to be a charismatic center of the party type of person. I'm just saying that you have to be able to socialize, you have to be able to cooperate, because if you are perceived to be that sort of person who kind of the lone wolf, that's going to be a little bit tricky for you, because most of the other programmers are going to collaborate. That's the way it moves anyway. I'm not saying that there are not companies who will ignore this, but in my experience this is the way that it works. So pair coding is one such thing, for example, or pair programming or collaborating in order to produce some type of value, right? And then you have code reviews, for example. Now, code reviews is also a fairly standard practice where you review my code and I review your code just to make sure that you're spreading some knowledge so that everybody knows how it works and that you keep up the code quality. That's also a very sensitive matter. I mean, think about it yourself. You sat down, you wrote this code, and now somebody's going to judge that code? For some people that is very sensitive. Some people take that very seriously. And that's where a certain level of personal maturity comes into it, guys. You have to just accept the fact that you will not write perfect software. Your software is not flawless. It's up for debate if you should do one thing or you should do another thing. And just as having a linter or a compiler to help you out to write better software, a code review is a very good way of doing that. But as I said, you have to be the sort of person who can deal with that interaction. If you have a problem or you feel anxious or maybe even frustrated with people telling you to fix things in your code, that's something you're going to have to work on, because it's going to happen, most likely. And then finally, we have just the interaction with stakeholders. If you have issues communicating with your product manager or your customer or so forth and so forth, your project will suffer for it. Actually, what's kind of interesting and what's kind of funny is that being a software developer today is actually very similar to being just any sort of craftsman, where you have to have an interaction with non-technical people. You have to be able to talk to people, to understand their needs, to kind of figure out the holes in their logic or like hidden requirements, stuff of that nature, and to communicate effectively the decisions that are being made and how things are going, because that is going to be expected of you. If your product manager comes up to you and starts talking to you and asks questions about, especially time estimation, that's a very common one. They will ask about time. They're going to ask about, all right, can we cut corners, or can we improve features? Can we do this? Can we do that? They have tons of questions. You need to be able to answer those questions. And that's a social thing as well, guys. You can't just sit in your cubicle. I'm sorry. It's very, very rare that this is the case. As I said, I've never actually talked to anybody who works in that type of isolated environment. Even as a consultant who just rents out hours, you're going to have to socialize to a certain point. So, being a programmer is actually surprisingly social. I can tell, on average, I think I spend maybe 2-3 hours without talking to somebody or interacting with a coworker or some such. But on an average day, I talk to tons of people and collaborate and share ideas and get opinions, and that's something that naturally grows over time when you work as a part of a software team. So what I want you to take away from this is that don't feel stressed if you are a little bit on the shy side or stuff of that nature. That's okay, but you should know that being a programmer these days is actually quite social. Have a great day.